The great failed romances of the 20th century. Love is both a blessing and a curse. The great failed romances of the 20th century. A few of the best and a lot of the worst.
Welcome to the Great Failed Romances of the 20th Century. I'm singer, songwriter, and historian Teddy Gray.
And I'm Woman of the Year, Sam Kaufman. So Teddy, which irritable icons will we be talking about today?
Next up on the docket is Katharine Hepburn and Spencer Tracy.
Ooh, related to Audrey?
No.
Really? Audrey Tracy, the famous warmonger? I thought they were siblings.
Well, unlike your parents, they weren't.
Stars of the screen Katharine Hepburn and Spencer Tracy first met on the set of the comedy drama film Woman of the Year, the story of two reporters going from rivals to lovers. Their characters' first meeting in the movie was close to being their first meeting in real life, and right off the bat, you could tell that the two had an undeniable chemistry on screen. And soon enough, this connection would be furthered off-screen as well.
Allegedly, when they first met, the always brash and unapologetic Katharine Hepburn said, "I fear I may be too tall for you, Mr. Tracy." To which he responded with, "Don't worry, I'll cut you down to size." This anecdote set the stage for their on-screen dynamic, with Katharine being the outspoken one, and Spencer being the more dry and subtle one of the pair. However, a mutual respect was key to their success, again, as a comedic pair and a real-life couple.
Lucky for the two of them, they would soon have numerous other chances to spend time together, as Woman of the Year was a big hit, primarily because of the performances of the two leads and how they worked off of each other. This was the beginning of a cinematic pairing that would be featured in 9 movies over the years, spanning over 2 decades. The dynamic between the two was progressive for the time, and the films they starred in often flipped gender roles on their head. This has led to the two being held in higher esteem than many of the other big-ticket Hollywood couples of past eras.
The movies they starred in together included Woman of the Year, Keeper of the Flame, Without Love, Sea of Grass, State of the Union, Adam's Rib, Pat and Mike, Desk Set, and Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. And each time audiences flocked to see their unique wit and chemistry.
And I would like to think that our viewers do the same with us. We've got quite a chemistry ourselves. In fact, we practically finish each other's...
I'm sorry, were you saying something?
Oh, our famous Sorry Were You Saying Something bit. That one killed in Albuquerque.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, that one's good too. Save it for later. We're very close.
By the time their second film had rolled around, the two were already unofficially an item. Though their relationship was an open secret around Hollywood, it was kept under wraps by the studio system, and by Katharine and Spencer themselves.
You see, Spencer Tracy had been married to actress Louise Treadwell since 1923, and the couple had 2 children together. Being a devout Catholic, divorce was not an option for Spencer Tracy, who remained married to his wife for the rest of his life. However, while the two were together legally, emotionally it was a different story.
Over the years, Tracy distanced himself more and more from his wife and kids, feeling overwhelming guilt for his ongoing affair with Katharine Hepburn.
Not guilty enough to stop him from doing it, of course, but, you know, guilty.
In fact, when the Tracy's son John was diagnosed as deaf as an infant, Tracy felt that it was God's way of punishing him for cheating, and this only furthered his turmoil in regards to his feelings for Katharine.
Again, not enough to stop him from doing it, though.
His next kid could have been a deaf mute, and he still would have kept coming back for more.
Great, now we just lost our deaf mute audience.
Spencer would never publicly acknowledge his feelings for Katharine, and while there were endless myths surrounding their romantic involvement, the two made an effort not to be seen often in public together, fueling speculation. Both Katharine and Spencer felt that Tracy's wife needed to be protected, as did their reputations, as this was the era when public scandals could destroy careers rather than enhance them.
In fact, at this time, numerous stars were required to sign morality clauses, most of which included a rule against infidelity. Because of these factors, the 27-year romance between Katharine and Spencer was never made public, the full details of it only coming to light after Spencer's death.
While one might assume that this secrecy only added to the lust that the two felt for each other, in reality, it likely did more to fuel Spencer's demons than anything. Hepburn described her lover as being a tortured soul, and throughout his life, Spencer suffered from bouts of anxiety, insomnia, depression, and alcoholism.
Katharine Hepburn, who was anything but the traditional housewife, suddenly found herself thrust into a maternal caring role for her soulmate. And yet her love for Spencer was so strong that she didn't mind it. "I liked to wait on him," Listen to him, feed him, work for him.
Chew his food for him, change his diapers, wipe his ass, read him a bedtime story every night. His favorite was Goodnight Moon, which I sometimes read to him 4 times a night. He just couldn't get enough of Goodnight Moon. He was absolutely crackers for it.
When did that quote stop being real?
Dear viewer, that's for you to decide.
So while in some ways his affair with Katharine was what was making him so miserable, it was also Spencer's lifeline, and likely the greatest source of happiness in his life. As the years progressed and Spencer's health began to fail, the two were even more inseparable.
In 1963, Tracy was hospitalized after a severe attack of breathlessness. From this point on, his well-being continued to deteriorate, and soon after, Katharine finally moved in with him to provide constant care. He was diagnosed with hypersensitive heart disease and type 2 diabetes, both ailments that took a quick and drastic toll on his acting career.
However, the couple had one final film in them, and it was 1967's Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. Being the last time that Katharine and Spencer would appear on screen together, the production was especially difficult for Tracy, who often couldn't film for more than 20 minutes or so at a time without needing to rest, and having to deliver the majority of his lines while seated or propped up.
Nevertheless, he prevailed, and the film was completed. Unfortunately, just 17 days after filming had wrapped, Tracy awakened to make himself a cup of tea at 3 a.m. and collapsed. Hearing him from the other room, Katharine rushed in only to find Spencer dead from a heart attack at the age of 67. She later said he looked so happy to be done with living, which for all of his accomplishments had been a frightful burden for him.
Out of respect for Tracy's wife, Katharine didn't attend the funeral, and a publicist told the press that Tracy had been alone when he died and was found by his housekeeper, the final fabrication in a relationship that had thrived upon them. Guess Who's Coming to Dinner went on to be nominated for numerous Academy Awards, and Katharine Hepburn won for Best Actress, an award she felt was always meant to be shared between her and Spencer.
In the years following Spencer's death, the details of the relationship became more widely and publicly known, particularly when Katharine published her autobiography, revealing more insight into the troubled but ultimately devoted pairing. As the years have passed, the pairing of Katharine Hepburn and Spencer Tracy has only grown more legendary and well thought of, with many proclaiming them to be the greatest Hollywood couple of the 20th century, if not of all time.
When asked why she never left Tracy, even through the difficult circumstances of their relationship, Katharine later said,
"I honestly don't know. I can only say I could never have left him. We just passed 27 years together in what was to me absolute bliss."
So, Teddy, isn't this album called Great Failed Romances of the 20th Century?
Yes, it is.
Because this one sounded pretty successful. You know, aside from all the diabetes and Catholicism and whatnot, but still. Wasn't it your rule that to qualify for inclusion, the couple had to be separated by the time of their death?
Well, Sam, I thought that since they were never technically publicly together, I could make an exception.
Huh. Sounds like a pretty flimsy case there. I'll see you in court.
What are you, the semantics police?
Oh, so you're saying you're anti-semantic? Always got that vibe from you. Da-da-da-da-da-da. So, Teddy, tell us about the song, why don't ya?
This song is called Kiss Me on the Screen, and it's about the not-so-secret relationship between Katharine and Spencer, and how they were only able to broadcast it on screen, rather than off.
Set right after Katharine finds Spencer's body, she reflects upon their 27-year romance, reliving how even though they had to keep it a secret from the audience, after making 9 films together, they knew that it was ultimately a futile attempt. Unable to divulge their true feelings in public, the two perhaps felt safest professing their love for one another on the screen. The films they made together stand as a testament to their love, and are an enduring document of a legendary relationship that could never be made official, but went down in history nonetheless.
Aw, how sweet. You know, Teddy, 3 episodes in, I think we're really hitting our stride with these videos. How many more do we have to film? 2? 3?
27.
27?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm getting paid for how many of them again?
Well, if you mean getting paid in experience, then...
Oh, no!
Sit back and enjoy Kiss Me on the Screen.
I'm ruined!
Headlines will spin in to set the scene. camera lenses rubbed with Vaseline. Film gets grainy, you could swear that we glow. Wasn't shot so very long ago. They say that your housekeeper found you. Keep dancing around what they all knew. After 9 films we were fools to think we could hide. We fell in love right before their eyes. Step into the sun, don't be afraid. There's nothing to be done with the mess we made. Can't stay in the cold, sweet tortured soul. Say we're only friends, say it's only a role. Don't leak the truth. We can't be seen when you kiss me, so kiss me on the screen. Sending off the set can take its toll. We're not acting when the camera rolls. Average Joe meets Woman of the Year. Brought me down to earth, so let me take you to the stratosphere. Step into the sun, don't be afraid. There's nothing to be done with the mess we made. Can't stay in the cold, sweet tortured soul. No need for rehearsal when you live in the role. They'll see the truth in every scene. So just kiss me on the That's all that I adore. Don't punish yourself anymore. You've sentenced for 30 years with Catholic guilt and buried fears. Please let me in before you go. I don't give up, I don't take no soul. Tell me now before you rest, what kept you up, what was it spent? The screen, on the screen, kiss me on the screen. Now tell me, on the screen, kiss me on the screen. On the screen, kiss me on the screen. Now tell me, on the screen, kiss me on the screen. Step into the sun, don't be afraid. Millions in the door, this mess we made. Coming from the cold, sweet tortured soul. Living wasn't easy and you're dying to go. So I'll let you sleep, and I'll let you dream of when you kiss me on the screen. The great failed romances of the 20th century. Love is both a blessing and a curse. The great failed romances of the 20th century. A few of the best and a lot of the worst.